Prime Minister, ministers, federal member state leaders, excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much to the Somali authorities for hosting this meeting. It has been a busy week of active engagement by the Somali leadership, including a high-level security meeting on Monday, the Security and Justice Committee meeting held for the first time in 2.5 years on Tuesday, the Peace Building Commission held for the first time in 5 years on Wednesday, and now the Somalia Partnership Forum, the apex coordination event between the government and partners. We are honored to be here as your partners. I want to thank the government for convening. I want to thank all those who have been involved in preparing the mutual accountability documents, but more importantly, those who have been responsible for achieving results. And finally, I want to thank the partners for being here to participate in this meeting that was organized on a quite accelerated timeline. Ladies and gentlemen, with regard to the inclusive politics agenda item, I want to stress the centrality of inclusive politics to our efforts collectively to achieve progress in all areas, and that includes on security and justice, and it includes on development, because it is essential that there be recognized national institutions with the credibility and the legitimacy to speak for the Somali people as they lead the security and development processes as well. But my remarks are going to focus primarily on the inclusive politics agenda. First of all, in regard to elections, as the Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister noted, one person, one vote elections regrettably did not take place in 2020. Due to delays in preparation and, more importantly, perhaps difficulty in ensuring a political agreement. So we've been very pleased as partners to support the September 17th agreement that was forged between the federal leadership and federal member state leaders. Even while disappointed, it did not make more progress toward one person, one vote. We are concerned, however, that that spirit of consensus and dialogue that led to the September 17th agreement appears to be diminishing. We don't want to see the September agreement reopened, but we do think it is important that in its implementation, that there also be clear continuation of that spirit of dialogue and compromise. And to that end, we believe it would be useful for the federal leadership and federal member state leaders to continue to discuss details of implementation of the September 17th agreement. The UN family has supported electoral preparations through the Integrated Elections Support Group, and through our collaboration with the Elections Security Task Force, and we will continue to do that. One final point on elections is we remain concerned that the 30% women's participation quota agreed in the law and agreed in the September 17th Accord, that should be respected. And we are concerned that the existing election management bodies have not yet met that benchmark. Secondly, in regard to the constitutional review process, progress was made at a technical level. And again, the UN was proud with substantial donor support to contribute to the work of the two committees and the Ministry of Constitutional Affairs working on constitutional reform. We believe it's very important that the progress achieved on the non-contentious issues be secured prior to the end of this Parliament, so that it is not necessary to start over again. This too will require a dialogue between the federal leadership and the federal member states. We hope that can proceed quickly. It will also be important to include women, civil society organizations, and other groups that have in the past been excluded. But constitutional reform remains a critical priority. We'd like to see more progress. I want to speak briefly about the efforts against Al-Shabaab in the context of inclusive politics also. There will be a session later today on security, but we recognize that in addition to the hard security efforts, it continues to be important to work on institution building and improved governance, including at the local level, as a way to blunt and diminish Al-Shabaab's appeal. In that regard, we were very pleased to see the meeting of the Security and Justice Committee earlier this week as a vehicle for coordinating both the hard and the softer sides of anti-Al-Shabaab measures. I want to commend the progress that was made in bringing the federal government and all federal member states together to discuss the electoral process. We think it's important for that dialogue to be institutionalized. We also think it's important that there be a move toward agreement on other democratic institutions, including the Independent Human Rights Commission, the Judicial Services Commission, eventually the Constitutional Court, but urge that this be done in a consensual and consultative manner. So to summarize, Prime Minister, in the coming year, we look forward to improved and sustained cooperation between the federal government and federal member state leaders, and to this end would encourage another meeting urgently to address remaining electoral questions and other issues. Secondly, we'd like to see a practical roadmap with clear benchmarks to get to one person, one vote elections in the next electoral cycle. Third, we'd like to see in the next year completion of the constitutional review process, including locking in non-confrontational, non-contentious issues even before the current parliament concludes. We'd like to see further work on establishing democratic institutions in the fields of justice and human rights, and we hope that there can be further participation by civil society organizations to broaden discussion of all of these issues. Once again, Prime Minister, I just want to stress the centrality of inclusive politics and broad-based institution building to other objectives. We want to see Somalis lead on all of these issues, but to do so, it's important that there be credible governing institutions that clearly have the support of the people and are accepted. It is also going to be important for partners going forward that progress made on inclusive politics over the last decade is continued and deepened, and this will help ensure stronger partner support going forward across all segments of our engagement in Somalia. As we look ahead, the coming year will need to be shaped by clear vision, strong political engagement, a spirit of dialogue, compromise, broad consensus, and mutual accountability. And we are very pleased, Prime Minister, with this meeting of the Somalia Partnership Forum, which we believe will guide these efforts in the coming year. Thank you very much.